Hey guys, welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to implement our first block project. So far, we have learned a lot about block, we have learned what a state is, we have learned why state management matters, we have learned events and the states, we have built our own block pattern, and we have moved to Flutter Bloc. And also we have used BlocProvider, BlocBuilder, and context.read. But let's be honest, a counter application isn't something people build in real life. Real applications load data, real applications perform operations, real applications have loading states and success states. So in this section, we are gonna build our first real application using Bloc, a simple code generator app. The user presses button, we simulate loading some data, and then we display a random code on the screen. This project will help us understand the complete block flow in a real-world scenario. So let's get started. We are gonna have a very simple UI. We are gonna have a button, and when user clicks that button, we are gonna generate and display a random code. But behind this simple UI, we are gonna use everything we have learned so far. Before creating any code, let's think like block developers. The first question is, what actions can happen in this application? That's right, user presses button. And in block, user actions become events. So we are gonna have an event, and I'm gonna call load code event. So next question is, what states can our application have? That's great. We are gonna have initially, loading, and success. That means we have three states: code initial, code loading, and code loaded. Notice something interesting. We are not writing code yet. We are thinking, and that's exactly how blocks should be used. Alright, let's start with the event. First of all, I'm gonna create a new file and let's call it code_event. Just like this. We only have one action. The user wants a code. First of all, let's create base event class. So as you know, we need to use abstract class, and I'm gonna call code event. And as I said, we only have one action, or it is better to say we have only one event. So let's create new class, and I'm gonna call load code event. And as you know, we have to extend code event, actually our base class. Just like this, we are done with entire of event class. Okay, let's go ahead and create our states. Again, first of all, let's create new file, and I'm gonna call code_state, just like this. And first of all, let's create our base class, and again we need to use abstract class, and I'm gonna call code state, just like this. And as I explained, we have three states: initial, loading, and loaded. So first of all, let's create our classes. I'm gonna call code initial and extends code state. Second one should be loading. So here I'm gonna create new class called code loading extends code state, just like this. And the third one should be code loaded. This state contains data, because when the code is loaded, we need to store that code somewhere and then display to the UI. So this class should have a parameter called code, and we need to pass to the constructor of this class as well. Okay, awesome. We are done with entire of state 2, and now let's create our block. So first of all, I'm gonna create new file, and let's call it code_block, just like this. Now it's time for the brain of our application. The first thing we need is our block class. So we are gonna create new class, and I'm gonna call code block. I'm pretty sure you know that now we have to extend block from Flutter Bloc library and inherit from block class. Let's stop for a second. This line contains a lot of information. we are extending the base block class that comes from the Flutter Bloc package. But notice that block accepts two generic types. The first type tells Flutter what kind of events can this block receive. In our case, it is code event, which means this block only accepts events that inherit from code event. Right now, that's only load code event. Tomorrow we could have refresh code event or favorite code event. And because they all inherit from code event, this block can handle them too. The second generic type is the state. This tells Flutter what kind of state does this block emit. Our block will never emit a string. It will never emit an integer. It will never emit a boolean. It only emits objects that inherit from code state, such as code initial, code loading, and code loaded. So before we have written any logic, we have already defined a contract. I'm pretty sure you know that every block also needs an initial state. So let's add the constructor. To do this, we just need to create an instance of code block. Okay, nothing special here, just a constructor. Then we have to use super method and set initial state for our parent class. Since we are extending the block class, we have to call its constructor. The parent class needs to know the very first state of our application. So we are gonna pass code initial. When the app starts, we haven't loaded the code yet. We are not loading. We don't have any data. So the most logical state is code initial. Then I'm gonna use curly brackets. Now our block exists, but it still doesn't react to anything. If someone sends a load code event, nothing will happen. So let's teach the block how to handle that event. How we can do this? That's right. We just need to use event handler and register our event. So we just need to use on method. The on method is where we register event handlers. So what is our event? Load code event. This means whenever a load code event execute a function, and I'm gonna pass onload code. We are gonna create this method later. Instead of putting all the logic inside the constructor, I will move it to a separate method. It keeps the constructor clean and makes the code easier to maintain. Okay, perfect. Now let's implement that method. Alright, I will start by making this method asynchronous. Why? Because in a few minutes, we are gonna simulate an API request. That means we will use await, and whenever we use await, the method must be async. And I'm gonna call underscore on load code. This method is gonna take load code event as a parameter. And our first parameter should be load code event. And the second parameter should be emitter and set code state. Why? Because we are gonna emit code state. This state can be initial, loaded, or loading. This parameter is one of the most important parts of the entire block library. And then we are gonna use async keyword. We don't need it yet, but in just a moment, we are gonna simulate an API call. Great, our method is ready. Now let's think about the flow of our application. When the user presses the button, what should happen first? Should we immediately return a code? Not really. In a real application, we would probably call an API. That takes some time. So before we get the data, our application should enter a loading state. Whenever we want to change the state, we use the emit function. And here, I'm creating a new loading state. I'm basically saying we are working on it. At the moment, nothing visible will happen because we haven't connected our UI yet. But that's okay. Right now, we are only building the business logic. Next, let's simulate a network request. Since we don't have a real backend yet, I'll simply wait for 2 seconds. So I'm gonna use feature.delete. This behaves just like an API call that takes some time to complete. And for duration, I'm gonna set 2 seconds. During these 2 seconds, imagine our application is talking to a server. Maybe it's downloading a code, maybe it's loading data from a database. The important thing is our business logic is waiting for the result. Once the request finishes, we need some data. Since we don't have an API yet, let's create a few sample codes. So here, I'm gonna create simple list and let's put these codes right here. Okay, perfect. Every time the user presses the button, I don't want to show the same code. So let's randomly choose one. To do this, we just need to use random.nextInt function and pass length of codes. NextInt returns a random index. Okay, just like this. Now we have one randomly selected code. The only thing left is sending it as our new state. Think about it. We started with the initial state. Then we entered the loading state. The loading has finished. What's the next state? Exactly, the loaded state. So again, we are gonna use emit function and set code loaded state. And I'm gonna pass the code into the state. Remember, our code loaded state contains a code property. So we need to provide its value. And that's it. Our business logic is now complete. Let's quickly review what happens inside this method. First, we tell the application that loading has started. Then, we simulate an API request. Next, we prepare our data. And finally, we tell the application the data is ready. Okay, perfect. We are done with entire code block, so we can move forward and connect our UI to the code block. I'm gonna open up main file and we have a text right here, and we are gonna update this text or this part of code. And I'm pretty sure you know that in order to update or listen to the changes, we have to use BlocBuilder. So I'm gonna wrap text into the BlocBuilder, just like this. And as you know, BlocBuilder is gonna take two generic parameters. The first one is our block, which should be code block. And the second one should be our state, I mean code state. So let's set these two parameters. Let's import code state. Perfect. And as you know, BlocBuilder has a required parameter called builder. This method is returns context and current state. And inside builder, we are gonna make decision based current state and return desired widget. For example, we are gonna check if state is code initial state. Let's return something right here. In this case, we are gonna return this text right here. Don't forget to use return. If you don't use, nothing will visible. And the second condition should be loading. So if state is code loading, I'm gonna return progress indicator, just like this. And finally, if state is code loaded state, we are gonna display generated code. So I'm gonna copy this text right here and paste here and change its value to state.code, just like this. As you can see, we have an error because builder asks us for a default widget. I'm gonna return an empty size box for default widget. Perfect. As you can see, the error is gone. Now let's restart the application and see the result. Okay, awesome. As you can see, we have red screen error. Why? Because we didn't provide any block to our block builder, or it is better to say we have dependency injection problem. So to fix this problem, we have to use BlocProvider. So I'm gonna wrap home into the BlocProvider, just like this. And in create, I'm gonna return code block, just like this. Now let's restart the application and see the result. Okay, awesome. As you can see, the error is gone. And now let's click on generate code. Nothing generated. Why? Because we didn't call our event. So inside onPressed, we can call our event. I'm gonna use read method and call load code event, just like this. Now let's click on generate code. Okay, as you can see, we can't see any code. Why? Because we forgot to use return. And now let's restart. And let's click on generate code. Perfect. Okay, awesome. As you can see, our code generator application is working very well. And this is power of Bloc. This was our first project, and in the next lesson, we are going to introduce Qubit and refactor our project and use Qubit. See you soon.